Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I'm going to talk about the Baker Act and the first appearance. So we got a call today from a dad who had an adult child that was Baker Acted over the weekend. And for reference, it's Sunday afternoon and we took the call I don't know, a couple of hours ago, and he called me and said, I've been sitting waiting for the first appearance on my son's Baker Act, and the judge hasn't called the case yet. And I said, well, what are you talking about, first appearance? Oh yeah, my son got Baker Acted late last week, and I called a criminal defense attorney, and he told me that this weekend there would be a first appearance. And I said, okay, no, there's not going to be a first appearance. So let me explain to you what a first appearance is, and then let me tell you why well, I can't believe the advice that was given to this client. Let's put it that way. First appearance is a process here in Florida for criminal cases and only criminal cases. And the right to a first appearance is provided under the Florida rules of criminal procedure. So we're in state court here in Florida. And when you get arrested, if you're taken to the county jail and you cannot post the schedule bond for a myriad of reasons, you don't have any money, perhaps it's an allegation, an arrest, a crime that doesn't carry a bond, for instance, domestic violence, a capital case, something like that. And so what the rules of procedure provide for is that within 24 hours, you must come before a judge to address one of three things. Number one, probable cause. In other words, was your arrest legal? Did the police have legal criteria in which to detention and bring you to the county jail? Number two, your right to counsel. The court, at least initially, is probably going to appoint a public defender to represent you just at that one hearing, which, by the way, a lot of the time now is on Zoom as opposed to in person. So there's a camera in the jail and there's a camera in the courtroom so the judge can see what's going on inside the jail and vice versa. So the court's going to appoint the public defender to give you at least initial legal representation and legal counsel. If for some reason you don't thereafter qualify financially for the services of the public defender, you've got a right to go and hire a private lawyer. And number three, what are reasonable conditions of release? Because let's not forget, someone gets arrested, they are presumed innocent, okay? So we shouldn't be locking up individuals who are presumed innocent, right? Additionally, it costs a lot of money to house somebody in the county jail. They get, lunch, they get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have to keep the lights on. We have to keep the place either air conditioned or warm, depending on the time of year. They have to be clothed. So it costs money to house people at the county jail, and we don't want to unnecessarily spend taxpayers' money. But what we do want to do is make sure, number one, that they come back to court as their case moves along the conveyor belt of the criminal justice system. And obviously, if there's an alleged victim in the case, we want to make sure they stay away. So this is the first appearance process that only applies in criminal cases. So this poor dad had called, I don't know why he was referred to a criminal lawyer. I think a friend of his said, oh, call this guy, he's a lawyer. And the lawyer said, oh yeah, show up on first appearance. Here's the link, because it was on Zoom. And here's the poor dad sitting there for 2+ hours waiting for his case to be called. And then finally he went on the internet, found us and called us. And I said, there's not going to be a first appearance. He said, what do you mean? I said, first appearance only applies in criminal cases. There's no first appearance in Baker Act cases. And here's the icing on the cake. Nobody, not one judge in the entire state of Florida even knows your son is there. And I mean no judge. In fact, nobody knows they're there. The facility that's holding your son reports to absolutely nobody. And I mean no one. There's no oversight. Your son has fallen into a big black hole, and it's going to be up to you to try and get him out. I said, I don't know why there was a delay. I mean, your son's now been there for 3 days. I don't know why there was a delay. But the fact is that the time to take action was 3 days ago when he was detained. And based on what I learned, it sounded like it was an illegal detention. So think of this. And actually, I just did a CLE presentation for a bunch of lawyers discussing this very issue. Imagine this, right? Here you are, you've been accused of a crime. You get all these rights, the right to see a judge, contest the legality of your arrest, a lawyer, all of this stuff, right? The right to be released. All of this stuff happens within 24 hours. But you get Baker acted in the state of Florida. No one's accused you of a crime. You haven't done anything wrong. Someone has said you have a mental health issue, but that's not criminal. And you don't get any rights at all. No due process. I think that's complete insanity, which is why in just about every single video you'll see where I'm talking about the Baker Act, and just FYI, I've had a family member Baker acted, and I was there when it happened. So I know what this feels like. In every single instance, pretty much, where I put out a video, I tell you, do not wait. You got to fight to get out right now. The minute you're detained, you should be on the phone trying to find a lawyer like me who knows exactly what they're doing. And just FYI, I was a prosecutor too. I also did a ton of defense work. I know the criminal justice system like the back of my hand. I'm very familiar. And I've also been to first appearances, both as a prosecutor and a defense lawyer. And I'm going to tell you, ain't no Baker Acts coming to first appearance. And so, while I appreciate this lawyer probably meant well, if you've got cancer, you don't go to see a dermatologist. You understand what I'm saying? And so if you've got a loved one who's Baker acted, please reach out to us. If you go on the website, there's a free ebook about the Baker Act. There's a ton of video content. I also have video content on pretty much every social media platform: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Vimeo. And I put these videos out pretty much every day, and they are free. I really, really, really want you to get the information you need without having to call us. But if you are ready to fight to get your loved one out, I'm here to help you, and so is my team. So with that said, I'd love a thumbs up. I appreciate a subscription if you could, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.